You know that feeling of walking out a movie theater and thinking to yourself, wow, what a movie, that was awesome. That's what I thought after seeing Denis Villeneuve's Dune. I've never read the original book and didn't have any prior knowledge of the story, except for what was shown in the trailers. Even with that lack of previous information, the movie did an incredible job at making the audience understand the world and its characters. A brief and basic summary of the story goes as follows. There's a planet called Arrakis in which it contains a very important and powerful substance called spice, which is used by the inhabitants, the Fremen. To the outsiders, spice is used to power up spaceships for safe and accurate travels across the universe, and for that reason it's very valuable. Two particular families or houses in the movie desire its power, the Harkonnens and the Atreides. One day, the universe's emperor asked the previous occupiers, the Harkonnens, to leave and the Atreides to assume command of the planet. After that, important events happen which I'll not spoil in this section of the video. Now we'll discuss three key factors that made Denis Villeneuve's Dune an awesome movie: the visuals, the soundtrack, and the characters. The first thing that immediately grabs you are the visuals, like the VFX and the cinematography. What makes the effects look so believable is the mix between practical and computer visual effects, the CGI. Many films nowadays choose the latter due to short production times. Looking at you, Marvel! Thomas Flight has a very interesting video on that subject titled "Why Dune's Visual Effects Feel So Different." I suggest taking a look. There's no denying that the cinematography is also a highlight. Every shot looks like it could belong in a painting. From the sands of Arrakis to the halls in the Atreides' home in Caladan, no scene is wasted, everything has an importance to the narrative. Hans Zimmer is without a doubt one of the best composers in the business at the moment, and it's no surprise that Dune's score is something else. I can't use the tracks here in this video due to a possible copyright strike, which is a shame because they're beautiful. I suggest listening to Paul's Dream, Leaving Caladan, Ripples in the Sand, Holy War. Screw it, they're all amazing, listen to the whole album. Last but not least, the characters, more specifically the acting. Everyone in the cast does a phenomenal job, but the standouts for me are Timothée Chalamet as Paul Atreides, the main protagonist. For example, this is not a spoiler since it's shown in the first trailer. There's a scene where Paul is asked to put his hand in a box. His facial acting is impressive. And also Rebecca Ferguson as Lady Jessica, Paul's mother. She also does some heavy lifting as well since her character is suffering because of certain events. This movie contains lots of silent performances, like looks and facial expressions, which is my favorite type of acting. I would also include as an honorable mention the main villain to that list, Stellan Skarsgård as the Baron. I would have liked more scenes with him because sadly he's not in the movie that much. I have to point out that this is only Dune Part 1, so as of now you can say the movie is incomplete, because the story is not finished yet. There are two more parts on their way. Think of it like the Fellowship of the Ring, where the movie ends abruptly without the conflict being resolved. As a fan, I hope that the second one also does well, so we can see the end of this amazing franchise. From now on, I'll be talking spoilers, so if you haven't seen the movie, skip to this timestamp on the screen for the conclusion thoughts. Still here? Okay. I'll be mentioning 5 of my favorite moments of the film. Number 1. The Bene Gesserit test. This scene is somewhat early in the movie, when Lady Jessica introduces Paul to the Reverend Mother, her teacher. I mentioned part of this scene when I was talking about the acting. The test begins when Paul puts his hand inside a box that makes him feel as if his hand is burning. The Reverend Mother does this to see if he can manage the pain, and if so, Paul could really be the one that's on the prophecy. It was an intense, well-acted and shot scene. Number 2. Leaving Caladan. This was when I realized that Dune was something special. As the Atreides' ship rises from the water and Hans Zimmer's score kicks in with Denis Villeneuve's fantastic cinematography, it was great experiencing this scene in a movie theater. Number 3. Seeing the sandworm for the first time. After House Atreides arrives at Arrakis, Duke Leto, Paul, Liet Kynes and Gurney go to check out one of the spice harvesters. When they realize a sandworm is coming to attack the machine, the team proceed to rescue the workers. But soon after, Paul comes in contact with the spice in the wind near the harvester and collapses as he has a vision. Gurney goes to save him, and when they manage to escape to the ornithopter, we see the sandworm eating the harvester as the team flies away. At the end, I really liked the slow panning shot of the worm with Liet Kynes' speech in the background. Number 4. Paul's visions in the tent. After Paul and Jessica escape the Harkonnen attack, they seek shelter in a tent. As they're in the desert, spice begins to affect Paul and he starts getting visions of him leading an army against the Sardaukar on a bloody battlefield. This whole scene is very well done, switching back and forth between Paul's reactions and his vision, not to mention Timothée Chalamet's acting during this scene was outstanding. Number 5. Visions of Chani. We still don't know much about Zendaya's character Chani, and we don't see her that much in the movie except for near the end and in Paul's visions, which by the way are beautifully shot and capture that dreamlike aesthetic perfectly, without losing that mysterious and creepy vibes, like that sequence where Chani walks with a bloody hand. There are many other great scenes, for example, Leto's death and Duncan's honorable sacrifice, but these for me are the highlights of the movie. Frank Herbert's Dune was told to be incredibly hard to adapt on the big screen. After the unsuccessful 1984 adaptation, Denis Villeneuve took the challenge and made a masterpiece.